witches, welcome back to my channel. Athena here. In this episode I am going to be talking about how to choose your first tarot deck, or how to decide on a deck, and what 2 things most importantly you need to do before you start using this new deck. First thing, it is important to know that there is a big difference between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. So a tarot deck has a set structure, as I've discussed in my previous videos about intro to tarot. The tarot deck has 78 cards and is split into a minor arcana and a major arcana. With an oracle deck, it has no set structure and can really just essentially be whatever the creator decides for the oracle deck. When it comes to choosing your tarot deck, it is important to know what resonates with you. There is a big misconception that you need to be gifted your first deck, and this is simply not true. You can purchase your first deck yourself and it doesn't matter if it's gifted to you either, that's great, but I would definitely recommend purchasing your own decks just because you want to feel what's right for you and what resonates for you. And when someone else is purchasing that for you, it's a little bit hard for them to tell whether that's the right deck for you or not. So a great first deck to start out is actually the Rider-Waite. That's the first deck that I started out with, and it's great because it has detailed art and rich symbolism, and it's easy to interpret the symbolism of those cards to start using your own intuition for the meaning of those. When you first get your deck, and even for many years after that, it's completely okay to keep referring back to the guidebook that you'll usually get with your tarot cards if you're unsure of the meanings and things like that of the cards, and that's perfectly fine. I still sometimes get stumped if I pull a certain card and can't remember the meaning, and I often will use a guidebook just to assist with my own intuition. I'm currently using the Tarot de Marseille deck, and I really personally resonate with this deck. It is definitely a more advanced deck. It doesn't have as much detailed art on the cards, and I love it because I really have to rely on my own intuition to interpret meanings, and rather than have too much detailed art that can sometimes cloud my own intuition and judgment. This particular deck probably would be a little bit trickier when you're first starting out. As I said before, you want to choose a deck that resonates with you, and there's really no right or wrong. But what I would definitely recommend is choosing a deck that, especially when you're first starting out, you can interpret the meanings a little bit easier, and that will help build on your own knowledge and for you to start learning the meanings and symbolisms of your tarot cards. This brings me to the next big thing in choosing your deck. As I've previously said, it is what you resonate with and what you connect with. If possible, I would definitely recommend for your first deck to purchase that in store, holding that deck, feeling those decks, having a look at the art for those ones, and seeing a few different decks there and seeing what you're drawn to is going to really help you decide on what is the right deck for you. If you don't have that option though, it's fine to buy it online. Again, have a look through, see what you're drawn to, see what stands out for you. There is no right or wrong. It is really your practice, and it's really what fits right for you as an individual in your craft. If you're going to have a look in store, I would definitely recommend metaphysical shops. Even bookshops often have tarot cards. I got my current deck from a bookshop here in the town that I live in. There's always generally 1 or 2 decks in bookstores if you're lucky, depending on what bookstores you have around near where you live. And definitely metaphysical shops like hippie shops, that sort of thing will generally have tarot decks too. Again, it is what you are personally drawn to. I can offer guidance and give a bit of advice and some tips for your first deck, but it's about you and what feels good for you and what feels right for you. So even though I suggested the Rider-Waite, you might not be initially drawn to that deck and might find that there's another deck that really, really resonates with you, and that's completely fine. There's no right or wrong when it comes to tarot. Just use your own intuition. So now you've purchased your deck, or you've previously purchased a deck and maybe haven't used it yet because you don't know where to start. What's next? First things first, I would highly recommend cleansing your deck, as this is going to have other people's energy on it, whether, that's negative or stagnant energy, or, it's been sitting on a shelf for a while, it's gotten a bit dusty. It really needs to be cleansed before you start using that, and it needs to have your energy on that deck as well. So before you can put your energy on that deck and bond with your deck, it's really, really important that you cleanse that first. There's a number of ways that you can cleanse your deck. One great way that I would recommend is sage smoke. So just passing your deck through the sage and visualizing any external energy, any negative energy, any stuck energy being cleansed from that deck until you feel that it's adequately cleansed. You can meditate with your deck. So I would find a nice quiet spot, hold your deck in your hands, sit cross-legged, visualize a white light coming down through your crown and through your hands and pouring into that deck, and visualize all that external energy, all that negative stuck energy being cleansed away, so you have a clean slate ready to incorporate your energy into that deck. Personally, I also like to use selenite. So I have a selenite chunk that I use each time I want to use my deck. I will usually leave this selenite chunk on my tarot deck while I'm not using my cards, and this also helps to cleanse and protect my cards while I'm not using them. I also cleanse my deck every new moon and every full moon with sage. It's important to regularly cleanse your deck. And again, that is just whatever feels right for you. I use the new moon and the full moon as a reminder for myself personally to cleanse my deck, but it is important to cleanse your deck if other people have touched it, or after doing readings for other people as well, because when you're doing those readings, or when someone else has handled your deck, it's going to have their energy intertwined with your deck. So now that you've purchased your tarot deck and you've cleansed your cards, your deck is almost ready to use. The next most important thing is bonding with your deck. It is very, very important to bond with your deck, as you want your readings to resonate with you personally and to be accurate. Again, whatever feels right for you. Here are some ways that I personally have bonded with decks that I've purchased in the past. I will sleep with my new tarot deck under my pillow for the first week, and I will also carry my deck on me whenever I can. So if I have like a tote bag, I'll put my cards in a little drawstring bag and pop that in my tote bag, and that way they're close to my body, and I'll do that as much as possible within the first couple weeks of owning my new deck. Another way of bonding with your deck is going through the cards, handling them one by one, really looking at the symbolism of the card, making your own interpretations of those pictures, of the art, of the symbolism. Even if you have like a book of shadows, writing down, your interpretations of each card is a really, really great way to get to know your deck and really learn that symbolism and how it resonates with you individually. I still do this on a regular basis. I usually handle my cards each day, even if I'm not doing readings, just to ensure my deck still has my energy on it and it's connected to me personally. I'll just even pick it up and give it a shuffle. If I feel like it, I'll have a look through the cards and handle some of the cards. And it's a really, really great way of bonding with your deck and staying connected to that. Another great way of bonding with your deck is to do a daily pull. I have a video up on my channel that I've previously done for you guys about doing a daily tarot pull. It's a great way to get to know your deck and to connect with it. And I'll often as well draw energy inspiration and style inspiration from the card in the daily pull. I'll provide a link to that episode in the description. So if you haven't watched that episode, you can check that out. That one just goes into a bit more detail for the daily pull for you, so you know what that's all about. This was very much inspired by one of my favorite witches, Gabriella Herstig. She has the book Inner Witch, which is also fantastic, and I'm going to be doing a review on that one for you guys. That's where I first got the inspiration to do the daily pull, especially in regards to that style inspiration. I really love that, and just like feeling the energy of that card and incorporating that into your day-to-day life is just, yeah, really beautiful. And now finally, your deck is ready to use. Yay! Now there are so many tarot spreads that you can use with your deck. Personally, I love the Celtic Cross spread. It's my favorite just because it's really, really in-depth, and it just goes into all aspects of the question or guidance that you need from your reading. Another really great one is a 3-card spread, which is the past, present, and future regarding the question or guidance that you're looking for. It's a lot simpler and quicker, or you can create your own layouts for whatever feels right for you. There's no wrong or right way. Make sure that you keep a note of these in your Book of Shadows so that you can come back to them for what felt right for you, what resonated with you. Also, Pinterest is a really great resource for that one as well. If you want some tarot spread inspiration, I sometimes, if I'm looking to shake things up a little bit, will check that one out. So remember, when it comes to tarot cards and reading the tarot, again, I will say it is so important to just go with your intuition and do what feels right for you. Only you know what feels right and what feels good for you personally. So don't feel pressured to do things a certain way. It's your personal craft, and there's no wrong or right way of doing things as long as you maintain that positive mindset. And I definitely recommend keeping track of all your different readings, your learnings in a Book of Shadows so that you can refer back to it later and also see how you've grown with your craft as a witch as well. It's always great to look back and just see how you've evolved. So would definitely recommend keeping a Book of Shadows for that one. I also keep a tarot journal. So every time I do a reading for myself, I do a tarot journal entry of every card, what the card is, and also my personal interpretation of that. So if I do the Celtic spread, I have each card written out and what my interpretation was for that particular aspect of the reading, which is really, really great to strengthen my intuition with my readings as well. I find that really helpful. And it's great to just journal it, and you can refer back to it that way as well, because sometimes when you do a reading, especially with the Celtic spread, there's a lot of cards. So it's hard to remember the full reading, and it's always nice to be able to go back and refer to that one and the lessons and guidance that you got from that reading. I hope that you found this episode helpful. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell for weekly witchy content. Happy divining, witches, and I will see you in the next episode.